I almost texted you about my sweater, Anna. But it's just different enough from that other one.
I love that sweater. I'm going to get that one too.
It's very soft. It's just as soft as the white one you have.
That shirt that we share.
Yes. The most amazing sweatshirt
that we share.
Yeah. It really is like the softest thing I've ever owned.
It is. I'm like trying not to overwear it so it maintains its yeah.
Oh god.
At some point, I don't know if it's probably new business. I have an update or a update about transportation alternatives program funding. So I don't know if that's probably a good place for it.
Nice.
Why?
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Ken's coming. He was on the other link.
It's dangerous sending 2 links.
Well, and then I have 2 meetings starting at 7
on
other Zooms that are starting. So I have 4 computers going.
What else is happening at 7, Neil?
Well, the water board is doing a thing for all water holders.
Mm-hmm.
But we set that up on the one rec usually does, and I think Paula didn't know and deleted it. So they may not be meeting.
Got it. Well, I'm gonna start since we have a quorum, I'll start our spiel here. Hi everybody. Hi Stephen. Hi Ken. Oh, everybody's here. Hello. Hey Jeff. All right, so I'm gonna do the intro. We'll then vote to go into non-public, and then we all have to click on the other link. We'll get out of this meeting, go to the other link, do our non-public, and then come back to this link. Okay.
And hope we all survive.
Yeah. All right. As chair of the Hopkinton Select Board due to the COVID-19/coronavirus crisis, in accordance with Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this board's authorized to meet electronically. Note there's no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. In accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm we're doing the following. A, providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access by video. Tonight we're using Zoom. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the Zoom platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and if necessary participate in the meeting through dialing the following phone number: 646-558-8656. Meeting ID is 340-316-049. We've also provided a Zoom link. B, providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of how to access the meeting using Zoom, and instructions are on the Town of Hopkinton's website at www.hopkinton-newhampshire.gov and the Town of Hopkinton's Facebook page. C, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem, please call 603-746-8242 or email townadmin@hopkinton-newhampshire.gov. Adjourning the meeting if the public's unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, we'll adjourn the meeting and have it rescheduled. A few notes about tonight. The meeting's being recorded. It'll be available to watch at a later time. The link will be on the town website. The board is unmuted. Everyone else is muted. If you have questions during the meeting, you can use the raise your hand feature to let us know if you have an issue or a question. And during public comment, we'll unmute lines so folks can speak. And all votes are taken during this meeting by roll call vote. So we will start the meeting with roll call attendance. So please state your name and
what do you call candy that's on a date?
And whether there's anyone in the room. I was just told a really funny joke. Okay, sorry about that. So I will start. This is Sabrina Dunlap, and I am currently alone in my home office. Anna.
Anna Wells, I'm alone.
Ken.
Ken Traum, I'm alone.
Stephen.
Stephen Whitley, I'm alone.
And Jeff.
Jeff Donahoe, I'm alone.
Thank you. Okay, so now, can someone give me a vote or sorry, a motion to go into non-public under 91A3 2 1, consideration of advice from counsel.
I'll move that we go into non-public under that RSA.
Second.
All right, Sabrina's yes, Anna,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes,
Stephen,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
All right, so we're going into non-public, so
Do we leave? Should we leave this meeting?
We'll
I
have
think
to,
yes.
otherwise
yeah.
I'll be broadcast.
So we'll leave here. Neil's putting up a little sign for folks that we're going into non-public. And then we can all go to the other link that Neil provided us. So I'll see you guys on the other side.
So
Yes.
Robin will stay here. and do
staying.
this.
Okay.
I'll stay here. I
Thanks,
don't want to go to
Robin.
the other side.
No, don't go there. No.
Never.
See you in a bit.
All right. See everyone in a little bit.
We're back, Robin.
Yahoo.
Yahoo. Thanks
Are you
for
cold?
holding out that word. I am. I'm freezing in my bedroom.
Turn the heat on.
I'm too cheap for that.
That's why I have a wood stove.
I'm very far away from my wood stove.
Yahoo.
I feel so important when I get promoted.
So, okay, I am moving that we seal the minutes of our non-public that we just came out of.
Second,
Sabrina's yes, Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
yes.
Steven,
Yes.
we lost Ken,
In the attendees.
and Louise is with us.
Yes.
Start moving.
You're muted, Neil.
I'm gonna move Ken back over here.
Gotta move. Sorry about that.
There
Sure, sure.
he is.
Names move around when they start going back and forth. So
And we're voting on sealing the minutes of our non-public.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so for folks who are on for the Gould Hill building permit, we're going to bump that up out of new business. Apologies for taking 40 minutes longer than we thought. So in terms of the building permit, we are going to deny the permit because it doesn't meet the requirements for frontage under our zoning ordinance. And we also do not think that it falls within the requirements of RSA 674-41. It needs to meet both of those requirements. So I think we need to make a motion to deny that building permit.
I'll make a motion that we deny the building permit because it does not satisfy the zoning ordinance definition of frontage. And also because we do not believe it satisfies the 674-41 1B little 2 street on a subdivision plat approved by the planning board.
Second,
All right, Sabrina's yes, Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
yes.
Steven,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Okay,
who was the second?
Jeff.
Got it.
Okay, so next on our agenda is, well, I think since we've kept Louise waiting, we can bump things around a little if you guys are okay with that. We have some administrative stuff we need to do, but I feel bad that we're 40 minutes late for Louise, so. All right, so we can bring her over, Neil.
She's on
We're
her
gonna-
way.
We're gonna move up our appointment of Louise Carr, who's here to talk to us about the Houston barn.
You're muted, Louise.
There, is that better?
Yes.
Oh,
Hi, Louise, thanks for joining us. I'm sorry that we're late.
It's okay. Things happen.
you know, you've been here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. You have, I submitted some stuff to Neil for you guys to review. So one was the recommendations for committee members. So I didn't know if are you okay with the people that I've asked to be involved?
Looks like a good group.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was, everyone has their place, and how I was thinking when I was compiling this list of people was, what benefit can they bring to this group that the town doesn't have to spend the money out on. So the more that we can get the expertise, and be involved in the whole committee process, the quicker things are gonna go along and the easier it's gonna go along. So if you're okay with that, then I will, that part of it, then I'll reach out with them again, and in a couple of weeks, we'll meet at the barn for our first meeting there, so they can do a walkthrough. Some people have not been inside the barn before.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like a good plan.
And then the other thing was the purpose. Have you had a chance to read that over, and is there any changes, or are you okay with that?
Louise, is Ken,
Yep.
just in terms of the timing for a report,
Yep.
with the thought that, yes, certainly would like to get it for the next town meeting, but if possible, I'd like to be able to get it in so we could build something into the budget for next year, if you're going to be seeking money next year for it. So, do you think there's a possibility that you could have the report, say, by November?
Oh, by November?
Yes.
Next, for the following year's budget. Oh, yeah, we should have something by then, for sure. But aren't you putting in money in the CIP this year?
We're putting in some,
Yeah.
I think we're going to be reviewing how much probably during this meeting.
Yeah, okay. For this upcoming town meeting, I don't think anyone's going to be prepared for that, and I don't know if it's wise to move forward if you don't have your ducks in a row and to open up a can of worms. I just don't think it's a good idea for this upcoming town meeting. We don't have enough information. There's going to be a lot of questions we're not going to be able to answer.
Oh, no, I agree with that. I
Yeah.
was thinking of the
Oh,
following year's
following year.
town meeting.
Yeah.
But even if in this budget, say we have $40,000 or $60,000 for it, is that going to open up a can of worms?
No, because, it's, that money's gonna have to go towards, well, the first thing that should go towards is probably the roof.
Mhm.
So I mean, that's easily, it's money that needs to be set aside. It's, it's the maintenance on the buildings. I don't think that's too hard to explain. It's when we get into the bigger money that it's gonna be a little more harder to explain. But my goal, because I know nothing's gonna fly with that bond if we don't have grant money and private money. So that was, in my thought process when I put that committee together, because we do have, Ben, who's directing us into grants, and he had me direct me into the bond assessment grant, which I wrote, which I hope you guys will sign. So that was the first one, because that's the first step for me to look into the bigger grants, but we have to jump this one first. Also, with having Selena Hurley on the committee, she will help us, develop a capital campaign, and to help us with other types of funding, so different grants, and help us go out with get private money. So that was, her role. So I'm hoping,
Louise, this is Jeff.
Yep.
I don't want to be that guy, but it sounds like the decision's already been made by the structure of the committee to save the barn.
Well, The, on the purpose, the first thing we're going to do, because we have to wait for that study to come back, and it could be like 3 months. So the first things we're going to do is to come up with how much it's going to cost to dismantle the barn and have it removed. The second thing we're going to look at is DPW. So if that should happen, then you're going to have to build the structure for them. So we're going to be looking into the cost and location for that to happen. The other thing we're going to be looking at is the storage that's on the first floor and what to do with that. So we're going to do all those things while we're waiting for the bond assessment to come back. And then we'll be able to look at these costs versus what are the costs going to be for restoring the barn. So that's kind of the plan. But yeah, the ultimate goal is to try to preserve the barn because it's a piece of history. But if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. But we won't know that until we get all the other costs. We know what the other costs are. We're not going to know. Can't compare apples to apples unless we have that. Any other questions? Did, so the grant, are you okay with having that submitted in?
I was just looking at that. That looks like a great first step and resource. Just to, you know, have that sort of baseline idea
Yep.
of what we're dealing with. So I think that's fantastic.
Well, it'd be good to have an updated one. I mean, we have a pretty extensive one, but it's old. I don't think we're gonna find there's a whole lot different, but just to have an updated one. And this, with this grant, it will also prioritize the needs and help develop a long-term plan on the remaining things that need to be done. So, you know, that's the point of this one. So,
I certainly think it makes sense to get that as a, you know, a starting point.
yep. And she's expecting it because I had to contact her to ask a question. And she said Ben Wilson had just left her office actually, and that, so they've already discussed it. And so they already know it. She's looking forward for it to come across her desk. So I'm thinking it probably won't take the 90 days for it to be looked at and either approved or rejected. And I don't know how long it'll take for them to schedule, you know, one of their bond experts to come out, but I'm assuming this whole thing may take like 3 months by the time it gets approved, by the time someone comes out and looks at it and writes a report. That's why I was thinking within those 3 months, we would do the other cost and look at, you know, other things. And then when we're ready to look at the bond, we'll have, you know, the numbers to compare.
And Louise, would you build into your time frame maybe quarterly updates to this board?
Oh, yeah, yes. Well, probably as things, you know, as we learn information, you know, just give it off to Neil and then he can, you know, update you guys with it.
That's fine.
Yep.
So Louise, if you would want to repeat the description of the grant, I will move that we approve it.
Let's repeat the description of the grant. Okay, let me find the right wording here. I guess to approve, if you're willing to approve the historic barn assessment grant that was written for the Houston barn.
Okay, I'll move we approve said grant. Said application.
Application, yeah.
Yeah. Grant application, right?
Second.
All right. Sabrina is yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Stephen.
Yes.
Okay.
Before we let Louise go, I think the grant asks whether you want to submit for 50% or 80%. I don't know if we need to make
Yep.
that decision, since we have to match the rest.
Yeah, yep, so it's either, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, so I made a note to ask you that, actually. So it's a $500, the assessment is $500, so they ask you to match either with the 250 or 100. And so I was hoping you would do the 250, because I think the town could probably afford a little more than some of the other people that are asking for money. And also because I plan on going back and asking them for a significant amount of money at some point.
I'm okay with the 250 match.
Neil, I'm assuming that's not going to be a problem for our budget.
No, that can come out of select board expense,
Okay.
which is what that line's for.
Perfect.
I'm fine with that as
Yeah.
well.
Me too.
Okay. Anything else, Louise?
No, like I said, on the 30th then, I will reach out to them people tomorrow and let them know on the 30th, probably like 9 in the morning, we'll meet at the barn. I have past reports that I want to give them, and just some past history anyway, that I want to be able to hand it out to them so they can kind of get up to speed on things. And like I said, and just do our first look through on the barn, and then we'll disperse from there and start looking into these other costs that we need to do.
All right. Well, thank you again for sort of taking the wheel here on this. We appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. This is a project that's, it means a lot to me, so I hope it goes in the right direction, but it will go in whatever direction it makes sense, is how we have to look at it.
Mhm.
So,
All right. Thanks for sticking with us tonight.
okay, all right, good night.
Bye, Louise.
Yeah,
Thanks,
See you
Louise,
later.
for your
Yeah.
work on this.
all right, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we'll go back up. Neil, does anyone have any points of pride?
I am okay with skipping that.
Okay,
There are lots of
So-
people doing lots of good things. I don't want to say there aren't any, but
perfect.
nothing specific.
So hopefully we can get through administrative here pretty quickly. So first up's approval of the consent agenda.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda of January 19, 2021. And if Jeff is okay, I'll move that he sign.
Jeff, are you okay with that? I can't see you.
I'm waiting for Jeff to say he's okay to second.
Jeff is okay with that. Thank you.
Second.
All right.
Thank you, Jeff.
Steven seconding, I hear.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Sabrina's yes. Anna,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Steven.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, next is approval of the public meeting minutes of January 4th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Sabrina's yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Steven.
Yes.
Thank you. And next is approval of non-public meeting minutes, January 4th. It says 2020, but we know 2021, session 1.
Yeah, I'll move them, a note that they're sealed, but question if they have to be sealed.
Sorry, I just lost everybody. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
You. Sorry. Okay. Um,
it was decided to seal those until that
Right.
work was complete.
I was just refreshing my memory on that.
That's what I recall as well, that we need to seal them temporarily, at least.
And just the way they were written, I didn't think that they needed to be sealed, but
Okay. I think they should stay sealed, but do we have a majority of people who think they should stay sealed? That is what we voted on. Okay.
Nodding yes to staying sealed.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, Ken, I think you're outnumbered,
Okay.
but okay. So you made the motion. I will second. Sabrina's yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes,
Ken,
yes.
and Stephen.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we have our second round of non-public from January 4th, 2021. This was session 2.
Okay, I'll move and note that we did vote to seal those.
Okay.
We-
Right. I will second. Okay, so Sabrina's yes, Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
yes,
Ken,
Yes,
Stephen.
Yes.
Thank you. Last, we have approval of the public meeting minutes of January 8th, 2021.
so moved.
I'll second. Sabrina's yes, Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Stephen.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. We're done with our appointment. So that brings us to old business, beginning with the, huh?
I just saw in the participants that it looked like Cheryl Miller and or at least one of the Craftons was still on. I just didn't know if people were aware of the decision we reached earlier and that we announced, just so they didn't wait until we
Yeah.
actually got to that on the agenda.
So it looks like the Traftons are gone. I think they were on when we said it. So I don't know if anyone else who was here for the new business Gould Hill Road building permit, if you did not hear our decision, feel free to raise your hand. We did vote to deny the building permit. Okay. I think we're good. That was thoughtful of you. Thank you, Stephen.
Yep.
Okay, so that would bring us to old business. First up is the bond/budget update.
Sure, we received our information on the bond. Our overall interest rate will be 0.76, which is excellent. And I'll share the good news first. And it will pop up. So basically, this outlines by refinancing the road bond, we're saving almost $69,000. And by refinancing the fire station, it's $231,000 basically. So excellent, just over $300,000 in savings by doing that. Let me switch to the other one. So as you saw in the paperwork, the payment schedule changed slightly. And this is a comparison of what is budgeted for bonds with interest. And this next to it is with the updated bond. The bad part about it, even though we're saving over $300,000, it's the actual numbers came in $57,144 higher in 2021 than is currently in the budget. You probably saw that part of that was because of the way we're doing the prepayment. Sorry, I'm starting one other meeting at the same time.
The three-ring circus, huh, Neil?
It is a three-ring circus.
All right, this is a disaster. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Okay.
As I say, we have.
So we can hear that
Yeah.
meeting.
That meeting's over. That meeting, I
Okay.
made them the host, so they're okay. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
No
Um,
worries.
So basically, right now, the budget is short $57,144. But the rate is good, the money saved is good. It's a little more upfront loaded than they had originally told us.
I think what people want to focus on is the $300,000 of savings by refinancing those two pieces of debt. And that's terrific. And it eases our burden in future years. It's the 57,000 of cash flow, additional cash flow in 2021 that we have to address. And Neil certainly has at least a partial suggestion that makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you want to take it, Neil, you want me to mention it.
Which one was that? The further use of fund balance, because there's more. Yes. So it looks, as we get our final numbers, like we have right now at least $50,000 more in fund balance than we had originally expected, and that's still with the final. Basically, the revenues are done, and we're doing the final expenses now. So, and given that it's going to lower, it actually lowers next year's payment by almost $200,000 with this new thing. It probably makes sense to make up this difference if you want to do it that way with fund balance, and which still leaves as much as you had predicted, basically what we had estimated would be available for next year.
We had originally estimated and presented to the budget committee that we'd be using 150,000. So this would move it to 200,000, eliminating most of the cash flow shortfall from the financing. And recognizing that we've got a budget committee meeting tomorrow night and one the following week, which are both before we have another select board meeting. What I would like out of this meeting is approval to go to the 200,000. And then there are a couple of other things that we'll discuss.
Where's the 200,000 coming from?
From the 2020 over collection of revenue and under spending of expenses.
So in the budget right now is the use of 371,300 in fund balance, 61,300 for financial software, and it was 310 for offsetting the budget. So this would move that to 360 for offsetting the budget.
Was this, I feel like there was, we had this in one of the materials in our packet. Did I make that up?
It is,
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you.
yeah, and where originally we were showing 149,000 expense under budget, about 6 lines from the top. That's the number that I was suggesting be increased to 200.
And do you think that you need a vote, Ken?
I think it would be, I'd feel more comfortable, let's say.
Okay.
although it's kind of consensus because this is not the fine, it's still the estimate. So I would think either way.
Consensus okay for you, Ken?
Yes.
Does anyone have a problem with that? Okay.
Thank you, Ken and Neil.
Mm-hmm.
I really did redo the fund balance before we got that additional. It wasn't like we went looking for money. It felt a little weird, but really as the numbers come in, that's where we seem to be. And by your next meeting, we'll have finalized everything. So we can have much better, even closer estimates.
And at our last meeting, we had left it up in the air if we were going to accept the CIP committee recommendations or not, because that also has the effect on the budget. And just to remind people, for 2021 purposes, that committee had recommended not putting in $10,000 for the dam and not and reducing the recreation facilities by 30,000. And that relates to Park Avenue irrigation. So again, whether it's a vote or consensus, if the board supports those recommendations.
I have to dig deep for that conversation. Ken, did you agree with the CIP recommendations?
Yes,
Yeah.
I thought they did a very thorough job.
There was certainly discussion last time after the presentation that pushing off the dam probably doesn't make that much difference, but pushing off the irrigation and some of that type of work is really just pushing it off. So there was discussion, but no decisions made.
In case people hadn't heard, I'll say for your information, the school budget at this point is slightly over 8% increase. And I have no idea what it's going to come in at, but there's that atmosphere there.
It's 8%? Why does that not sound right to me?
That's including bond and, I mean,
And
that's
teacher's contract.
Right.
It's all in.
Right. Okay. When you take out the things they don't have control over, it was like 3% or something, I think.
Yeah.
To people, I agree about the dam, the facilities. I am recalling now it is just pushing off work that needs to be done eventually so we can keep moving forward with that project. But what do people think about the rec facilities reduction?
Neil, I don't have my CIP plan in front of me.
Sure. Let me
Set up.
pull up.
I mean, I guess my feeling is I think they're prudent fiscal decisions in the short term, obviously, cutting budgets. I guess I would grudgingly agree to them, but acknowledge that these things are coming up and are, you can argue if they're necessary or not, but I think they're important, and they'll come up eventually. So we'll have to pay for them eventually. So it's difficult for me to totally support cutting those funds, but I guess in the short term, given the uncertainty of the world at the moment, it probably makes some sense. And I echo Ken's comments that I think the CIP committee did a very good and thorough job of examining the trajectory. And so I do very much appreciate their work.
What the CIP committee did with the Park Avenue field irrigation is they pushed it back to 2024. And part of that, as Neil alluded to, is they're trying to balance out the annual percentage increase in capital projects and bond payments.
So that appropriation was 50. They changed it to 20, and they moved. Well, yeah, and that was the main move. And the irrigation of Field 2 irrigation, they pushed off to 2024 also.
Yeah, they moved it back 1 year.
But we could still do, the bathrooms would still.
That's in 2023, which is actually where you had it. It was listed in 2 years, but it's really a one-year project anyways. So it would have been done in 2023 anyways. They had initially moved it back, but then they moved it forward because they thought that was a more of a need, or there was a desire to do it as soon as possible.
And my memory of this conversation is that the concern with pushing back the irrigation is that if that field is worked on, it could put a strain on some of the other fields that also are going to be worked on.
Well, what I thought I heard was that it would be different teams or different sports would be using the different fields.
Part of the reason to get the Park Avenue field going and in better shape is as work happens on George Park, Park Avenue will have to be used more. And it looks like under the current plan, the baseball field is getting done then, but the main work over there is out in 2026. So that probably would work.
Okay.
Yeah, I had, it's okay to push off irrigation of Park Ave in my notes. And also a comment from Budget Committee that irrigation seems more of a want than a need at this point. So I'd be okay with going with the CIP recommendation.
I'm okay as well.
Okay. So thank you. That hopefully makes my job easier with Budget Committee. I guess the one other thing I wanted to just get a consensus on is, as far as the Houston barn is concerned, should we leave the amount we have right now in the town facilities trust, which includes the Houston barn, or should we reduce it this year?
What's the amount this year?
Well, the town facilities maintenance trust this year has 60,000 in it. The only thing aimed to be done this year is Bates Building furnace for 8,000, leaving a balance of 58,000 in that trust. And then next year would be using and allocating another 60,000 with the thought that 80,000 would be used for the barn roof. Now, we've heard from Dan that 80,000 may be more than is necessary, and we don't know what's going to be happening with, Louise's committee anyway. So I just raised the question at this point: should we appropriate 60,000 this year or not?
I would just comment that I would not put this off, because really almost no matter what, it sounds like if the barn's staying, the roof needs to be done and it needs to be done. That can't be pushed off
Yeah.
too much longer. And next year, we already know in the CIP plan, there's an increase because of the bonds and the way they're falling. So to push that off and raise that entire amount next year just does not seem to make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you, Neil. I just wanted to raise this to see get the feel for where the board is at.
In my understanding of the barn situation is that even if the decision is that it needs to be torn down, that's going to be a significant expense as well. And so kind of no matter how we slice it, we're going to need some cushion in that fund to do whatever.
I think that's where my mind is going too. And that speaks to the issue that I raised last time, that I wonder about renaming this line to not Houston Barn Roof, but Houston Barn period, or Houston Barn Improvements, or Houston Barn Maintenance. Because I know that we're not beholden to using it for the roof, even though it says roof, but I just wonder for voters if it's more clear that the decision has not been made by this vote, by voting to allocate money there. It's not, the decision's not made whether to maintain or not the building.
So the appropriation is to the town facilities maintenance trust, which gets used for lots of different things. So for planning purposes, we can certainly rename that just Houston Barn and leave it at that. That is
Makes me more
easy
comfortable.
enough to do.
I'm happy with the renaming, and I agree with Stephen that I'd rather keep what we have in there because it's going to cost us money no matter what.
Okay, that's fine with me. I just wanted to get the sense of the board. Jeff, are you there too? You're muted.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Ken.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
I think.
So are we good on bond/budget?
I'm just going through my notes quickly to see if there's
Okay,
anything
right.
else I wanted to raise. No. I think I'm okay. Neil, did I miss anything?
Not that I know of.
Okay, great.
All
Let's
right.
move on.
Thank you. That brings us to review of 79E info/application.
So what was sent out was really largely what Matt and Central New Hampshire Regional Planning plan to have the application in the review. It's the application for you to approve. Made some minor tweaks but nothing major. The only question I had about it is that I've always been under the impression that 79E could be used in either village. And this only includes Kentucky Village. And I went back and looked. I looked at the narrative warrant for the year that that was adopted. It was, I think, 2009, March of 2009. And I looked at the minutes, and there's no reference anywhere other than it was adopted. The statute was adopted. So I didn't know if that was my wrong impression. It's really up to the board. But I think there could be some advantage to having really two 79E districts, one as outlined in what you have, and then adding another one in Hopkinton Village to cover that area.
I agree with that. I mean, I think the way it's written, right, is that it has to just be in a village center or a town center, and Hopkinton Village qualifies, in my opinion.
And as a matter of fact, we have had conversations at different times with businesses in Hopkinton Village about it. They ended up not doing it, but we had provided them information and worked with them at that point. So
Where Hopkinton Village is precinct, is that cause any change, any need for differences?
no,
I'm fine with including Hopkinton Village.
because actually Kentucky Village is precinct too. So
Can we do that without kind of a map with district boundaries tonight?
well,
I think we need that.
what I'll do is ask them to create a
Okay.
Hopkinton Village district map and then add it to this. And then probably vote on the final documents after that. I think all the documents that are there look good. It's just missing that Hopkinton Village map.
Is there any reason to vote on the Kentucky one now and then just do a separate vote for the next one? I guess not. Okay.
I
just
mean,
figured I'd
there's
ask.
like an application pending or anything. So like,
Yeah.
we don't, there's no rush to do that. I don't
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
Thank-
that's it. That's it on that. We'll bring it back with the.
Okay, thanks, Neil. Okay, so new business, town meeting warrant.
Yes, you have a draft of the warrant. And if you have any comments or changes or anything missing, what's,
Well, maybe we should just say again, just one more time, since it would be here on the agenda, the Gold Hill Road building permit. We should just
Yes,
mention that again.
we discussed earlier on, we did some rearranging on the agenda, and the Gould Hill Road building permit under new business, we discussed and denied that permit. So we have one person on
that's it.
from the public.
So
Um,
the only thing on the warrant I would note, if you're ready for that, is Article 8. There's an old cut through, an old road by Beach Hill School, and a triangle. It's all tree covered and you couldn't even really tell there's an old road, and they would like to purchase that. So I know we briefly discussed that once, but I put that on here. So that I think that's probably the question. Do you want to leave that on here or do you want to take it off? If you want to keep it, clearly there hasn't been discussion of money or any of that. And I'll do a little more research. It may actually be throwing up the that piece of road and then selling it. I just need to get the old records to confirm that if you want to go in that direction. But that's basically, it's a 0.33 acres total.
and you said Beach Hill's interested in buying it.
Right, they're the ones that approached us with their interest to purchase that.
That's fine by me.
Yeah, that seems fine.
Oh,
Need to take out the reference to sell a land, it's just sell land or a lot.
Yeah, we'll fix that. Good. And I think everything else has already been discussed, and unless there's something you want to add to the warrant. There is one petition article, as you saw, that did come in, that does have enough signatures, so that is on there. I think at this point it's on about 101 warrants in towns,
yeah.
according to the list served today.
And we had this on last year, right? Or something very similar about paired redistricting.
Same topic.
Yeah.
Last year called for a committee,
Mhm.
a redistricting committee or commission.
All Alright.
Okay,
Jeff, are you talking to us, Jeff? You're muted if you are, or are you talking to someone else?
The dates at the bottom of the document all say 2020.
Yeah. That's why they're highlighted. We'll adjust those.
This seems like a good spot to mention that I do plan to sign up for another term. So I'll be doing that tomorrow.
Thank goodness.
Yay.
That opens at 8 a.m. tomorrow and goes through 5 p.m. on Friday, January 29th. So,
All right.
Okay, on the warrant, obviously the numbers in the budget lines and all may still be changing, depending on what happens with the budget committee and all. And
they actually changed tonight, and I haven't updated them yet.
why not? The pay by bag amount. I think what's the number that's showing there is different than what we have in the at this point. in time.
We'll get the exact number, but what you have is the revenue from that. The actual expenditure is more because it's the revenue that comes into the town plus the cost of bags that come out of the fund. So those two numbers are different.
Okay, good enough.
Anything else on the warrant? Okay. We move on to the Pine Street dilapidated building.
Yeah, this is where the fire was. I first contacted them in August, and we've tried since then and have had no communication back. And so I guess the recommendation is that we begin the whole process because I think it is a health hazard there. You have the pictures of the burnt out house. So I think starting the process and the serving and going to court. So that's really what I'm looking for, I guess, the authorization to take that process to the next level and go through that process.
So Neil, can you, just so we're have the detail for the notice, like what would be the grounds that this building is considered a dilapidated building?
Because it's completely burned out, and there is lots of debris around it. It looks better now because it's covered in snow, but we'll write it up. It is a health hazard. It is not fenced in. There is a fence across the front that says no trespassing on it, but no, that doesn't really block it. So the structure is standing, but clearly is gutted inside. And looks like it could be dangerous.
And it looks like, it's not secured. So all the windows are open, the doors are open.
Right. There are no windows or doors, and some of the sides are missing. And the whole back section is completely gone. So that's open, and it's not a deep cellar hole. So it's not something I think somebody will fall in, but certainly if kids were playing in it, I think it is a dangerous place.
Okay.
Who owns it, Neil?
Their name is Miller.
Where are they?
They are, my understanding is through the grapevine that they may have gone to Florida. And none of the letters have been returned. But they also have not contacted us back.
And is it the suggestion that they raise the building and remove all the materials?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the time frame?
We'll follow whatever the statute says exactly.
I think
So
we get to
start
pick
this
the
right
time frame though. That's why I'm asking.
I would say is that we move this as soon as possible. We serve them, and because it's been just about a year now since that the fire.
How about 30 days to raise and remove the materials?
Sounds good.
Do we have a lien on the property at all yet?
I don't know about the tax lien. Probably if there isn't, it's coming up in this lien process coming up now. But we will, if we have to go in and do the work, we lien the property for that.
Do we need a motion to give you authority to pursue this, Neil, or are you just good?
I think if you're good with starting the process as we go along, there may be places we do, but I think this is good for now.
Great.
Thanks,
All
Nick.
right. Thanks, Neil. So that brings us to employee evaluation.
Sure, it's that time of year. Department heads are doing theirs, so you get to do mine. So I leave that to you, how you want to do it and what you want to do.
So in past years, we've had a non-public to discuss, but we would need your help setting that up. What's the time frame on this? Like,
It covers 2020. And normally we're looking to have it done because we're doing merit increases and all of that, but really you're on your own time frame. It's up to you.
so if we were to slot some time in non-public for our next meeting, that would be okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can do it and I can make you the host and leave. And
That scares me, but is everyone all right with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any updates, Neil?
Yes. If you've been watching the Recreation Facebook and the websites, Recreation Zoom classes have started. There's some ceramic classes, there's exercise classes, and so far they're going very well. We go out to bid for number 2 fuel oil with the school, and they do all the work, which is very nice of them. And we have, they've come up with a contract of $1.969 for number 2 fuel oil from July 1 through June 30th, July 1 of 2021 to June 30th of 2022. We're at $159 now. So this is more than we're currently paying. We put $2 in the budget, so we should be set. I sent a whole packet of sewer rates, and we're beginning to work on that, and we'll come in with a recommendation. But that sort of gave a sense. They're kind of all over the place, so we're working. I'm working to learn more about that. The purchase by the town of the Chesley land that closed last either Wednesday or Thursday. So that is complete. All the bond paperwork, the final work has all been signed and was picked up last week. And at your next meeting, because he couldn't come tonight, Sam Green from DRA Property Division will be in talking about the whole elderly and the net income and how that's all figured. So he'll be here for that. So, and I think that was it.
Thank you. We have two people from the public, so I guess we can do public comment now if anyone has anything to say. All right. Well, thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. Does anyone have anything for other? Anna, you do, right?
I do. Sorry, give me 1 second. So I wanted to just let the board know that I am hopefully working with Regional Planning and Economic Development Committee to submit an application to the state for funding under the Transportation Alternatives Program, which is designed to promote safe pedestrian and non-motorized infrastructure projects. I talked today with Dan Blanchette about sidewalks, talked with some folks from the Concord Lakes Sunapee Rail Trail group and regional planning. And our initial idea is looking at some sidewalk creation and improvement in Kentucook Village, connecting, and this is just a preliminary idea at this point, but connecting, and there are some constraints on the funding, so it's not, so the project that I'm describing right now kind of is the one that jumped up that fit the program. So connecting the existing new sidewalk on Pennacook Road down Hopkinton Road into the village, and then addressing some of the safety and maintenance issues going up Maple Street as well. So the idea is like connectivity is a big part of the grant. And I guess the other thing to know is that the minimum project amount, total project cost is $400,000. So we're talking about sort of larger projects here. And it requires a 20% match from the town. But that could be, if we are to work with the Concord Lake Sunapee Rail Trail group, that could be, partially privately fundraised as well. But in talking with regional planning, they liked this idea and thought that given that they hadn't heard a lot of response from other towns about this next round of TAP funding, that we had a pretty good chance of being accepted. So the first step that I would take is to submit a letter of intent. It would be due next 2 weeks from Friday, February 5th. It is non-binding, and it just, we would just provide an estimate of the cost and what the intention of the project is. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that is something that I'm working on. And we would, if we're approved, our letter of intent is approved, there are further steps to take, and we would have to identify some funding probably. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Thanks for working on that.
My jam.
And is Matt and the Regional Planning Commission going to help with all the kind of submission stuff? So you're not doing that all yourself?
Yeah, so I'm starting to draft a letter. Craig's making a map, and it's very preliminary. I mean, it's a 2 to 3 paragraph letter, and a simple. It's like a line on a map to show the general locus. So very easy upfront, but if approved, things get much more complicated pretty quickly. So for now, we're okay.
Thank you for doing that.
And thank you. And in terms of the matching, I'm trying to remember when we had heard about the former matching. Is volunteer labor valued for matching purposes?
No, I believe this is dollars only. Hard match.
Okay.
It might be able to be in kind work, like if the highway crew spread gravel or something. I think some of those costs are generally allowed, but I'm not sure. You would know better than I do.
Well, I'll double check on that.
Okay.
I don't right now. The instructions on their website are pretty basic and it doesn't address that. So my understanding at this point was that it was as a dollar match, but I'll look into that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Anna? Thanks for working on this. Anything else for other? Okay. That brings us to our second non-public session. So for our two members of the public who are with us, we will be going into non-public and then adjourning. So thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. And I'll make a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A32C, which I forget what that is. Reputation?
Reputation.
Reputation.
Second.
Sabrina's yes. Anna?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Robin.
Welcome. Have a good evening.
Thanks,
You
Robin.
too.
Jimmo.
Robin.
See ya.
Thank you, Robin.
See you later. Have a nice trip, Neil.
Thank you.
Nice trip. Are you going somewhere, Neil?
He's taking the next month off.